fantastic. I mean, it shows the huge range of experience and knowledge and background that you have. I would have thought that it's probably more than anybody else in Coventry. It's huge. So you've come up to the present day with the solar mapping project. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, well, this really arose from 4 years or so ago when a group of us locally in Warwickshire, me and Coventry, bought into a solar farm by Stratford, near Stratford-on-Avon, with 55,000 solar panels, and it's a community energy project, so we don't make any money out of it, we're not paid, but we have a surplus each year, about £30,000, after we pay like the mortgage, the capital or part of the capital over 20 years, and the interest, and then the service charges, numerous service charges. So once that got well established, we got to thinking about a year or so ago, what more can we do to try and spread the interest in solar, particularly as it was then coming to the point where it's, well, it certainly hadn't got any subsidy. The feed-in tariff was abolished under the previous government, and so we were mindful of a report that was produced in 2014 by the then DEC, the Department for Energy and Climate Change, which was a roadmap to a brighter future. And they had just surveyed and identified roughly around about 250,000 hectares of south-facing and flat commercial roofs that could, in their words, become local power stations. So we picked up this, and then came the idea of let's test this out. And we had a group of 8 Warwick University students on virtual placements at that time. And we started on the canal basin, the canal, the Coventry Canal, starting with the canal basin, 5.5-mile canal, which historically very interesting because it was designed in the 1770s by James Brindley, who also had just finished enough the Brindley Canal in Birmingham, which keeps its name to today, Brindley Place. And so a historic link there. And we, the students, mapped out roughly around about 17 large clusters. And the idea of the cluster was the economy of scale. So instead of just looking at it at one building, one organization at a time, look where there's clusters. So I'll give the example is the what used to be called the Rico Arena, now Coventry Building Society Arena. And next door to it is a huge retail park. Between them, they've got a very substantial roof space, but also they've got big car parks. And if you include the car parks, potentially we could have what the grid would call a disruptive energy, which is rather ironic. Disruptive energy, that, or we would know as community energy, community district energy, or various other names. But essentially the principle is you generate locally and you consume locally to minimize the impact requirement for the grid, either receiving from or exporting to the grid, because the grid's got very great problems. It wasn't designed for what now has been pushed in terms of renewable power into the wrong way, one-way street, going up the wrong way. Anyway, So they was very successful. And then we started on Coventry South. This was partly because there's an interest from our MP, Zara Sultana, and they worked away at that, and essentially they identified the potential for nearly 250,000 solar panels. If you projected for the whole city, you were talking about 1 million. And if you projected a bit further for the West Midlands, we're talking about 12 million. So this really underpins the opportunity for producing locally green and cheaper energy and secure energy, so we're not dependent upon the whims and the madness of Middle East oil, or for that matter, gas from Russia. So that's the project, and we produced a prospectus to try to then get it into the hands of all those that's been mapped so far. And furthermore, is that we've now got agreement with Coventry University that sometime after Easter they're going to get a group of postgraduate of MSc students to work on finishing all the buildings on both sides of the canal, but also helping with Warwick University for mapping the whole of the city. In addition to this, the what they call the Global Sustainable Development Cross-Faculty School of Warwick University, the director there, Alistair Smith, called me in a few weeks ago and said we've now trying to plan out what post-Easter students' summer placements. And the long short of it is that they've identified 20 students that will come in from that source. And he also raised that a number of students live in Leamington and said, well, why don't you also get them to do something in Warwickshire, South Warwickshire? And so this has led to, amongst other things, a meeting yesterday, a Zoom meeting with one of the directors of Warwickshire County Council, who seems is very keen about the project. And he would like to the County Council to get involved, which is, I have to say, a little bit more than Coventry City Council. They're putting too fine a point on him. So we want to take this a little bit further. And this is also an opportunity to look at the potential of setting up a regional procurement agency over 10 years, maybe even 20 years, that can contract in quantity with then a economy of scale from suppliers, and we would see the prospect of helping to make this more attractive. And on the background of the Putin's war on Ukraine, it's added to the rise of energy on the global market. And it emphasized the imperative now, the extra imperative for us to generate all our own energy locally, and particularly with solar, I've just outlined.